within the game.
Yeah, definitely. Fnatic will be starting on attack, of course. I think it was their map picks, Dark Sided. You know, as you do, pick defense.
Yeah, absolutely. Preferring the defense, and that's a Lion ban out of Dark Sided there.
Yes, the last time we saw it being straight away by Fnatic. So, you know, both teams not really wanting to touch the Lion at all.
No, both teams want it off the board. They don't want to deal with that EE1D at all. I don't really blame them either. Can be so powerful, especially when movement is what you need to essentially win. If you're on a defense, totally negates your flanks.
And then a follow-up ban from Fnatic, which is Glaz, which interesting, seeing as they're the only team that played it last map.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Maybe they know something about what Darksided are planning to pull out that we don't, but Fnatic very, very quick on this second ban. Mirror off the board, not really a surprise at all.
Yeah, no one's really surprised. I can't hear any gasps of shock and horror from the crowd.
There'll be a couple now that you've said it. And
final ban, though? What are we going to get?
Maybe an Echo?
Yeah, probably.
Yep.
You're right.
There we go. Echo coming off the board. And
you should appreciate that. It's not often that you are.
I'm getting more and more correct as time moves on. I can learn, monkey. And we're going to move forward. Armory lockers and archives taken. No real surprise from anyone.
Of course not. We're seeing an IQ being ran here by Rizraz. Going to make sure there's no outside cameras, as a Valkyrie is going to be revealed in the reveal phase, but still a possibility for a change-up.
Oh, look, I don't think he will. Valkyrie, an absolute staple for this map, and it was banned out in Oregon, not banned out now, and I think we're going to see both teams utilize Valkyrie to its fullest here. The IQ pick makes 100% sense, but changing out that pulse to Frost, that is interesting, and I think it is because they saw IQ.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see a lot of Frost play over in security, I'd say. You know, with the catwalk that's surrounding the map, you can't rappel upside down and shoot any of those Frost mats. You got to jump on into security. You're going to have to either look down to shoot the Frost mat, or you're going to have to look up to take a firefight. So it's kind of almost like a crossfire that you can set up with one person.
Yeah, I do expect two people to be sitting around in the security and break room area, though. And that Frost map behind that half wall will be very interesting in break. I don't see too many people vault that wall anymore. And, you know, I think you're really not going to catch anyone off with that Frost map.
Yeah, well, looks like Cutie is going to put one of those Frost mats, as I expected, just outside the window into security room. As for the other two, unsure as to where he really wants to put those away.
Yeah, so it'll be very interesting to see where he comes. I do expect the Frost to sit in security, potentially with Virtue on this Legion as well. Cutie and Virtue can make a very strong combo, sitting in amongst the...
Like he's going to put some barbed wire outside, and this wall straight into Armory, not fully reinforced. Flea, what do you make of this one?
I think that's going to be very interesting, and we're seeing some shots out of this C1. It is, of course, a 9mm weapon, so it does very little destruction, so very hard to spot from the outside, but you get your peek holes.
That's something we've been seeing Cutie do quite a lot. He's been making these little peek holes. He's going to run right up to it. Oh, he's Neophyte ready. He's going to at least Asher open, which means Cutie's not going to be able to utilize it. And Cutie is going to go right down. They're in the bomb site, Fnatic. They've got the diffuser on site. They are at complete control here. Rizraz is going to start planting it. Spec is going to go down to Lusty. Is Magnus going to find one? Lusty another. Leaving it all up to Virtue. This has fallen apart here for Dark Sided.
And the flank from Virtue doesn't manage to hit anything. Ace is in the side, though, repelled on the balcony, and he manages to pick it up there. Fnatic, a very, very dominant performance.
Yeah, that was a bit of a surprise. Fnatic just hit them where they weren't expecting it. Dark-sided. You know, the narrative we've been selling for this one is that Fnatic are going to, you know, win dominantly, but, you know, no one really expected it at that level in that first round.
Yeah, and we did say this is going to be a much more stronger showing for Fnatic, and there it is, the rush round number 1 to put Dark-sided in their place. Fnatic saying, hey, you might have won the first map, right? But you got to forget, we still have border here, and this is ours.
Yeah, well, looks like VSTS don't really want to try that bomb site again either. They are switching it straight up.
Do not blame them for that adaptation whatsoever. Going downstairs, they're going to 6-pick onto the Valkyrie. Of course, it doesn't make much of a difference in, you know, the way of IQ. Pulse to Valkyrie. IQ, good against both operators. So whether or not we're going to see just a quick play here out of Fnatic, I think it's going to be a bit more reserved pushing forward. I think we're going to see a standard top-down take. We're going to see a bit of a different change of pace out of Fnatic squad here.
Yeah, definitely. They're going to, you know, take control of that top floor. They do have the buck in tow to make sure that they can completely mulch up that floor.
Yep. And they don't have a Hibana either. So they are going to be relying on aces to get, you know, the hatch. I do expect to see that second hatch in the armory opened up, because I do expect to see a top hold here out of VSDS. There it is, it's opened up, and they'll flank back down through that hatch as this round goes on.
Yeah, well, relying on Thermite, maybe it's for if they did go back up top again. Like, you do want to use Thermite to open the armory wall rather than just, you know, all your Hibana charges.
And it's interesting, Thermite can also be used to open archives, so you can use it for both sides of the attack. So it doesn't matter how Dark Sided sets up the utility. If you bring Thermite, you can deal with both sides of the top floor bomb site.
Yeah, here we go into the action phase, of course. Magnet just laying down a few pre-fires along a common angle, but it looks like Dark Sided are not being too aggressive on this top floor here. They're hanging out in their spots, and you know, they're making sure they're not peeking.
Yeah, I did say we're going to see a bit more of a change of pace out of this Fnatic squad, because this bomb site requires a bit of a slower take. You can, of course, try to rush into the ventilation room through the window and get the plant if they're unaware for it, but at this level, who's not going to be ready for that? And,
you know, the operators you definitely need for that kind of rush strategy would be a Glaz and a line to work in unison, make sure they can't shoot through the smokes, and also keep them frozen in place. But those are both banned off the board, so we definitely won't be seeing that.
No, not at all. And Virtue, trying to see what he can find, is down below in that customs, seeing if he can potentially get some, you know, vertical play going through. No C4 to speak of on him though, because he is Legion. He does have impact nades, but we'll have to see what that comes out with.
I think he was aware that Rizraz was using the IQ scanner up there. I think he was taking out some cameras and some default cameras. So Virtue's just going to remain aware that's the possibility of a position someone could be, I think. Magnet thought he saw someone. He's going to run through the Legion mines. He's going to pull those out. No one's going to capitalize on that on the side of Dark Sided.
Yep, Magnet calls out that there are goo mines lying around, and it is Rizraz's job to deal with it. But now they know Fletch is here. But again, he is isolated in this spot. This is something we said from map number 1. As Specker takes out Neophyte, Magnet's going to trade back onto Fletch, though. Both headshots are going to be rolling around, but Magnet is like a magnet to these goo mines.
How apt, isn't it? We saw Fletch, he was caught between 2 targets, and he couldn't take down one, unfortunately. That was some great teamwork there from Fnatic. Though Neophyte is off the board, and Specker was very close to finding the head through the floor there. But 50 seconds on the clock. Fnatic going to have to speed this attack up here.
They certainly are. They need to move forward. They haven't even managed to. They have managed to take control of Armory, but Magnet wins the QE spam fight. Manages to land 1 bullet into the head of Virtue, and Legion is going to take it down. I think that is a bit of personal pride for Magnet after how many goo mines he stepped in on. And there's another one. Yeah,
some revenge has been gotten. I think all the damage he's taken has been from goo mines.
Yeah, 100%, and he's below half health here. So 3 on 4 now, favoring Fnatic, but the push is coming through.
15 seconds, they're going to have to get right on into the bomb site, and Specker's here. He's going to be ready to mow him on down. He's going to see one as Cutie's found the shots. Jacked out Cutie, Specker, wow! Fnatic just completely fall apart. Once again, not managing their time properly, and Dark Sided capitalize. Specker with the left-right, good night there.
Yeah, a 1-2 from Specker, takes out one to his left, flicks to his right, finds the second, and Dark Sided utilizing this clock to its fullest. They're utilizing their 6th man, and Fnatic don't really seem to have an answer for that clock.
It really feels like Fnatic should have, though. Like they,
yeah, 100%. They had control of the entire map for like 3/4 of the site.
Yeah, they get to the midpoint of the round, and then they just don't do anything until it comes time for them to have to push. I think that's where they really need to tighten things up. They're at a man advantage. They had the clock on their side, but then they just, spent too long just trying to find picks.
Yeah, it's like they know exactly what they want to do initially into the map. They achieve that objective, but then they don't know how to achieve their next objective. It's like they're sort of stalling there, and is it a communication issue? Is it an IGL issue? Is it that they know how to play this map, so it's not a strategical issue.
I think it's more of Fnatic are expecting Dark Sided to make a play, and they want to react to that.
It's an interesting train of thought.
Yeah, well, as I said, Fnatic always look better on defense. They like to, kind of string the attackers around, make them walk around in loops, and try and chase defenders that are there at one point and not there at another. But I think Fnatic are doing something, expecting Dark Sided to react, but nothing's coming of it.
Yeah, it's not coming of it just yet. Dark Sided playing very, very passively, and it seems to be the answer to Fnatic's aggression, doesn't it? It's just like they're just not sure how they want to push it.
Yeah, for sure. But looks like they have to have gone upstairs, Dark Sided, back to the Armory Lockers and Archives bomb site. This was over very quickly, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, it was. I don't think we're going to be seeing the same thing again as, you know, at this point last time they were already planting the diffuser. But I think Fnatic are just going to slow things down. That sort of rush, it works once, it doesn't work a second time.
Oh yeah, Dark Side are definitely going to be ready for that. And of course, with that Valkyrie, they're going to, you know, they brought it last time. But I think, you know, they've put them in slightly different positions to try and gain more information from them. And look, they've fully reinforced the armory wall this time.
Yeah, they've made that adaptation. Not going to happen again. Of course, no mirror on this site. Mirror is banned off the board. And, you know, you can sort of get the same potential with Valkyrie, but on that sandwich window, Rizraz can cut off rotations. Cutie taking a bit of a fight. No one landing any shots, though.
Yeah, it looks like Fnatic are going for a bit of a push, just pushing in from sandwich, and Cutie's taking a lot of damage, but Jack Daddy! Oh no, Neophyter's going to come up on top of that one! Looks like Cutie's going to miss a lot of shots onto Rizraz as well. Lusty with a Claymore kill, and that's a plant going down. Looks like Fletcher's going to find one back, putting us into a 4-on-2, 3-on-2 if you don't count Neo. But this is looking like Fnatic have exploded once again, but hold on, Virtue there to bring it back 2-on-2.
Yep, and just that potato out of Dark Sided, one after the other. Virtue landing on the Neophyter, Lusty trading back on the Fletch that leaves it all up to Virtue. They know exactly where he is. He gets spotted by the timer. They manage to peek up from half wall. Rizraz wins the gunfight, and Fnatic go 2-1 up.
Very similar round once again from Fnatic. Looks like it's like there's 5 of them just exploding into the side from different angles, and Dark Sided just can't be ready for all of them, can they?
No, they can't, but they can land their shots, which is what we saw they didn't do. We saw the potato out of Cutie. We saw the potato out of Specker, I think it was.
Was it Jack Daddy running out of?
Jack Daddy, yes, running out. Specker got killed by the Claymore, you're right. So, you know, we saw 2 out of 5 of the members completely potato fights that they should have won.
Yeah, sometimes it happens. Yeah, it happens. You've been there. I've seen you play, Fleet.
But at this, I'm not at this level of play. I'm not on a stage at PAX. I'm not playing for the Six Masters. You know, that sort of potato, those sorts of shots need to get landed. You need to land those shots.
Well, we do take a quick sneak peek at the scoreboard here. Lusty leading the way with 4. Looks like he has been stepping up pretty much every match so far here for Fnatic.
Yeah, he certainly has. He's been playing very, very well so far, and it seems like we discussed this at the Tokyo finals. The Fnatic's role changes of how they've, you know, picked everyone away. It sort of seemed that they would just, it sort of seemed that they would just, you know, sort of play across, and manage to. That they weren't quite comfortable in their new roles, and it seems like they finally settled that.
Sorry, what was that last part?
It seems like they finally settled the role changes.
Yes, they are, like, still trying to find their groove, but they're getting there, aren't they?
Yeah, and it was one of our biggest turning points from Tokyo, is that they just didn't seem comfortable in their new roles yet.
See, I don't know if that's it. Like, I think... Okay, the part that they're not comfortable with, it would seem, is, you know, tying it all together. Like, they're very good at the early parts of the round, but finding that right timing for them to all push in together at the last second, like we saw it work amazingly well in that round, but we didn't see it work amazingly well in the round previous, did we?
Yeah, no, we didn't. So we're going to the tertiary bomb site here. They really don't want to go back to Armory Lockers, which I don't blame them. They've been crushed both times on it. So we're seeing customs out of them this time.
Yeah, definitely not something we see too much. You know, it's only when teams are really forced to it, but Dark Sided have lost convincingly twice.
Yep, I would argue that they have been forced onto this bomb site with how comfortable Fnatic are at attacking Armory.
Well, a minute on the clock though, minute down from the clock as Cutie's going to find the first one. That's Lusty going down, and Magnet's going to take a hell of a lot of damage as well. He is LIT lit.
He certainly is. And Aces and Rizraz are going to be trying to take control of that security room. But it looks like Dark Sided, they're just going to cut their losses. They're going to rotate back on the site, and they're going to give up control of their top 4. I think that's a really intelligent move. Yeah,
that's a lot of information gathered from Virtue as well on that pulse. Really feel like IQ, Rizraz should be doing a lot more here, shouldn't he?
He certainly can be on this IQ if they could find him. The C4 might come out. He's got a hole there actually in the 4 to be able to find him. But no, the shots to the 4, he manages to connect on the Virtue. Whether he knows it or not, we'll have to find out. But it doesn't seem like it. Breaching charges on this IQ. Rizraz going to pop the hatch. Magnet has been down. It looks like he's going to be reset back to half health. And nothing really too out of the ordinary here from the Fnatic squad.
Yeah, once again, it's the second third of the round that really not too much is coming out from Fnatic at all.
Slow, meticulous gameplay, I want to say, from Fnatic. It is very calculated gameplay. Of course, you know, the clock has been their biggest enemy so far this entire series. We'll have to see whether or not this comes down to it as we come down to the final 50 seconds.
Yeah, here we go, 45 seconds on the clock. I don't think Dark Sided are quite aware of where the push is coming from. They think it might be coming from meeting area. As Magnet is going to find Spec up down the angle from meeting.
Yep, so it is going to come in through the passport section. Magnet trying to hold a beautiful angle. He tags up Virtue, I think is in there just a little bit. Virtue landing nothing though. Bit of potato back and forth. The frag grenade comes out. They're going to try and force him through. Rizraz finds Cutie on a rotate. And now we are onto a 4-on-3. The aggression from Neo does not pay off as Virtue wins that gunfight. No one there to try and refrag it. Magnet covering off the plant though. As Fletch finds Ace as he manages to stop the plant. Now it's up to Magnet and Rizraz. Rizraz off to the side. Virtue on the flank. Fletch lands himself a second though with this Alder. Can he get the third? No, Rizraz going to shut him down, but the clock runs out. Dark Sided, second win in a row now.
Well, second defense round one, of course, but it really feels like every time it comes down to it is one of their players stepping up with a big play and Fnatic not managing the clock right.
Yeah, to me it comes down to the clock, right? It is the biggest obstacle to Fnatic winning these maps, is the clock. Like, I don't know, if there's an MVP for Dark Sided, is it the clock? Like,
sorry, what was that?
If there's an MVP for Dark Sided, is it the clock at this point? Like, I know their players are playing exceptionally well, but that clock has been the biggest enemy for Fnatic. Like, I just...
Yeah, it's definitely how Fnatic are playing. Like, it's almost like they're their own worst enemy here. It's not like Darksided are forcing the clock to run down. It's just Fnatic are letting it happen.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be very interesting to see whether... I want to see attack pause come out of Fnatic in this attacking half. Right, I want to see that tactical pause come out because we need to see Dizzle curb this terrible, terrible attack strategies coming out of Fnatic.
Yeah, it looks like they really know how to attack top floor. They just don't know how to attack any of the other bomb sites.
Yeah, and well, lucky for Darksided, there's 3 other bomb sites that they can go to. So they're not forced to deal with armory. And it's sort of... At this point, you just don't go back to it if you're Darksided.
Well, they've only got this round to do in this half, and you know, it looks like they are going to go ventilation room instead.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a beautiful choice by them. In my opinion, it's the best choice they could have made.
Well, as for operator picks, you know, pretty much what we've been seeing so far across the map, we are seeing Jack Daddy on the mute. I think that's slightly different.
Yeah, it is slightly different. I don't think he has run a mute, but it's not really off the board. Like, he did run it in Oregon a couple of times. So I think that Darksided really not pulling off anything too crazy. They're not changing up anything. And at this point, why would you? Because it's working for you if you're Darksided.
Yeah, definitely. How about this IQ? Do you really think that's been pulling things together for Fnatic?
Yes and no. I think that it's been a very good pick considering the operators out of Darksided. Its utility has a very high impact. But that being said, we've seen them more face check things like goo mines than the IQ being able to pull them out. So I think that whether you place that to beautiful, beautiful placement out of Virtue's goo mines, or whether, you know, Rizraz just isn't looking for them, we have to... I don't think it's had the impact that they wanted, but it has the potential to have a massive impact.
Yeah, definitely, and Virtue is going to find the first frag here. That's Magnet going down. That's the buck off the board. That's an integral operator for attacking this bomb site.
Certainly it is. They now have lost a lot of their floor destruction. That being said, they still have the Zofia, they still have the Ash, they still have the Thermite, and I believe Rizraz is running breaching charges. So it does lose a fair chunk, but they still have ways of adapting to that. They just can't utilize their utility to the fullest at this point.
Yeah, well, minute 40 on the clock. Looks like we're going to hear some Ash utility get used up. Not quite sure where that was. It looked like it was on a wooden barricade.
Yeah, maybe below. Looking to see whether or not they can put it off finally. They're going to... Oh, Fletch manages to find Neophyter there. And he's pieced out, I think, a little bit.
Yeah, completely shut him down, didn't he?
Yep, and he's managed to piece out of there. So he got the kill and he just went back away. I think that's intelligent. Find one and then just go away. Make the attackers run after you as a roamer. That's a beautiful way to play. And I think Fnatic are in a world of hurt right now and they potentially could lose the half.
Yeah, they've got a minute on the clock. They're at a 5-on-3 disadvantage. Almost a 5-on-2 right there as Specker just narrowly missing his shots.
Yeah, hitting those annoying bars. Those bars can be so frustrating when you're trying to shoot up because you just end up hitting them.
See, this could work well for Fnatic because they've been struggling when it's been 5-on-5 or when they've got the man advantage trying to execute. I think they're going to go a lot earlier here, and that might negate the impact of the clock.
Well, they need to go much earlier, but these flanks out of the VSDS team is just going to be impressive, and I think that Fnatic are going to be in a lot of trouble when VSDS do collapse back in behind them.
Yeah, look, here we go, 25 seconds, and, you know, they're only just starting their slow push. Rizraz, he's going to find Specker for free. He's going to land into Goo Mine as well and just narrowly miss his shots as Lusty can't quite land these ones. That's another Goo Mine, and Fletch is going to finish him off, but Aces for the immediate trade. 10 seconds on the clock, and they're going to have to force their way into the bomb site here.
They can't go for Plants Monkey. It has to be for frags. Cutie takes Aces off the board. That leaves it in a 3 versus 1, but Jack Daddy shuts him down, and the half goes to VSDS.
Yes, so VSDS 3-2 half. Looking great on the defense, and Fnatic, they look lost on all bomb sites except for the Armory Lockers and Archives.
Yeah, it just seems like the clock for Fnatic is just their worst enemy. But as we come into the half change, they're going to swap sides around, and now the clock favors Fnatic. So whether or not Dark Sided can deal with the clock more effectively than what Fnatic can, we'll have to wait and see. But Fnatic no longer have to worry about that issue of the clock.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like Clash is going to be showing a... Sorry, Ace is going to be showing a Clash here. Wonder if it's going to stick as we head into the 6th pick phase.
Clash has worked very, very well for Fnatic. I think that, you know, they should 100% be bringing out that Clash. Neo has played it to extreme effectiveness, but they are going to 6th pick it off. It's going to be a Frost pickup by Aces.
So probably exact same thing we saw from VSDS. Going to put them under those windows where it's very hard to shoot out when on the rappel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's the most effective way to do it. You can deny a lot of the security take moving into it. You know, whether or not those frost shots are going to be more effective for Fnatic than what they were for Dark Sided, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, well, anything else stand out for you for the operator picks? Looks like we're going to see an IQ for Dark Sided as well.
Yep, very intelligent pick. I think IQ is almost mandatory when on this map when Valkyrie isn't banned away. The sledge is interesting from Virtue. I wonder what they're planning on dealing with that sledge. I think the Buck is the better choice to bring. But
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking as well.
Like I don't think that sledge is going to be able to do anything the Buck can't, particularly with no castle.
5 seconds to go.
So I think Buck's probably the better pick to take, but obviously Virtue's had a lot of success with Sledge.
I think it's more of like a personal preference. Like, of course,
yeah.
the L85 is so much easier to control than the C8.
C8, yeah. It can definitely be a comfort pick if he's, you know, more practiced with the L85. But Fnatic doing some very, very strong roaming initially. Dark Sided, not really finding anything in these first 20 seconds. They are starting to move up to the security and break room, though. Whether or not they can effectively enter that, we'll have to wait and see. There is Fnatic defenders in there, though.
That's the single bullet hole there for Magnet.
Yeah. And that hallway is something that we have seen people die time and time again to. You almost pre-fire it now when you come around East Stairs.
Oh, yeah.
So you sort of have to, because it has been devastating to some teams. And Fletch on the lookout for these Valk cams, finding nothing on the outside, going to be happy to say that he can move forward. And I think that bullet hole might be just a little bit too low.
Yeah, and there's another long angle we see quite often as well. Lusty all the way from officers towards the door into break room. Completely shut people down as they try and push in from there. Yeah, not much happening so far, is it?
Yeah, Darksided seem to be as lost as Fnatic are, but they're lost on the Armory defense, which is interesting.
Yeah, did you see those claymores as well?
Yeah.
Darksided really expecting a run out of any kind. This is a great way to counter any of the pushes into security. Try and get downstairs, but Jack Daddy!
He hit the he hit the railing. No, that is so unfortunate. Virtue pays for his life though, and I can't. I'm actually really devastated for Jack Daddy there. That should have been a hands down a kill, but railing OP.
He really should have used his Sophia charges first. Yes. Because not only does it do 50 damage through the floor, but it would have opened up a wide amount of area. He could have just blasted both there, and that would have been a downed Lusty.
It would have been, and it would have been a dead Lusty too.
Sorry, Neo, actually.
Was it Neo in the corner?
Neo in that point. Lusty's playing in officers, but Darkside are very stalled out right now. They're not really doing anything, and they're having a lot of trouble with security.
Oh, wow. It's been 2 minutes and they haven't even taken control of security, and they've got so little map control that they're being shot at from 2 different angles from the map at this point. At this point, only Jack Daddy's been the only one to enter the map.
Yeah, they really need to make a play right now. Time is running down, and once again, it seems like it's the enemy of every attacking team at this point.
Yep, and at this point, if you're Dark-Sided, you need to find these frags, you need to find these kills. Fletch does exactly that and takes Lusty off the board, but Magnet going to trade and spec it back. Fletch finds himself a second as he downs Magnet in reply. Neophyte is now left solely in this break room, in the security room, but I don't think it matters. Rizraz finds Jack Daddy, and that leaves us on a 2v3. 15 seconds left, the pings are coming out, and nothing is coming of it. Here comes the suppression as the peaks are coming in. Fletch walks in, finds Rizraz Nero, takes out Cutie in reply, though. That leaves it in a 2 versus 1. It's all up to Fletch here, pushing his way in. 2 seconds left. He does not have the time. He will find one, but Fnatic get the round.
There we go. Fnatic tied up 3 apiece. Once again, Clock, enemy of the attackers, friend of the defenders. And once again, it's the attackers not doing anything, just waiting for defenders to peek him, and that's not going to happen. That
was really, really poor gameplay by VSDS. They did not enter the building for over 2 minutes. You've only got 3 minutes on the round.
As soon as they realized, or, you know, figured out that they weren't going to take control of that security, they should have called a hard rotate then and there.
Yeah, I think they should have wrapped around to Archives. They should have realized that there's too much utility, there's too much pressure, there is too much manpower there from Fnatic. They should have rotated to Archives. They should have taken control of Office, thermited their way through the wall, and then planted in behind the bomb. I think it would have been a much better plan from them.
Well, here we go. Ventilation room workshop locked in here for Fnatic. That's the bomb site they're going to head to for this one. And I did see they did select a Frost earlier. I'm not sure if they've picked off it at this point, though.
And yes, they have.
But instead, they've got the cap can.
Yeah, cap traps have been something that we have seen come very, very more popular. Like, that was a terrible sentence. They've become more popular as time has gone on, particularly recently. And I think that a lot of people have become so used to not having to worry about Capcan that his traps are catching people off guard. They're not killing people, but they're taking him down to half health.
It's one of those things that, you know, the more you use it, the less effective it is.
Yes.
So you got to use it as little as possible to make it any effective at all.
Yeah, to have those impacts, you need to be able to use it sparingly and know when to pull it out.
Yeah, well, they do have the IQ Darksider though, which is a great counter to those explosive devices. And I think we saw Neo just miss taking a bullet to the head as he put down that cap can trap.
Yeah, certainly, and very, very close. We haven't actually seen, we've seen a lot of attempts at blind fire pickups, but we haven't seen anything land just yet. That was by far the closest attempt we've had.
Yeah. And, looks like VSDS want to go for a bit of an east side push as well. It looks like they're not worrying about security just yet, although I say that Virtue's already in east stairs.
Yeah, so east stairs is a power point that you have to take no matter what you're planning on doing.
That's going to be those cat can traps detected as well there by Fletch.
Yep,
I'm sure he's going to realize it is a cat can as well.
Well, by this point, they need to know that one's there. You know, you drone out at the beginning, you need to know that you're facing a cat can, you know, a minute into the round. Those drones should have been more effective if they don't know he's there.
Well, Dark-Sided so far only started to take control of officers, and looks like Fnatic is set up to meet them with, you know, defense and upstairs. Make sure they can't get into the armory lockers or archives.
Yeah, and you can see Fnatic have they've realized what the push is from Dark-Sided, and they have sort of gravitated away from defending armory to defending archives. And Fletch, so close.
Just missed the C4 from below right there, all the way from bathroom. Looks like Fletch wants to try pick this, but he's going to miss Lusty just by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah, that was close. Lusty's going to be counting his lucky stars, dropping down that hatch, but I think it was the intelligent move. He was pinned, he was going to die if he stayed there, so getting out of dodge was the right move. Virtue takes down to half health though, and Neofighter on this flank, he's got Lusty in support. They could do some serious damage.
Yeah, at this point, looks like Dark-Sided have to start pushing towards the bomb site, and Fnatic are ready and waiting for them. Cutie is going to find the first one in Neo, though.
Yep, Magnet gets droned out. They know he's in there. He's going to leave as well. Good play by these Fnatic squads. They get droned out and they move around. This is what you want. Thermite right on the other side of this wall. All right, he's going to have to get out of dodge. No, the impact nade comes out from Ace and stops it. And that is some heavy, heavy control. Lusty's going to find a kill on the Jack Daddy, and this push out of Dark Sided is getting stalled no matter where they turn.
How is he still alive in here, Lusty? He is trapped all the way in passport check. You know, I'll be surprised if he survives too much longer.
Oh.
But this is a great distraction here for Dark Sided. Wow. We're going to see one player go down as Lusty still alive, still keeping on the pressure.
That was, yeah, Lusty from that flank manages to down Specker. Unfortunately doesn't get the kill, but Lusty's going to find Cutie. Finally, Magnet picks up Virtue as this is coming down to the final 10 seconds. Specker is on the prowl. They have one proned out. Fletcher's going to find Aces, and that leaves us in a 2 versus 3. Fletcher's going to push his way in, but he gets tagged up by Lusty. Now it is all up to Specker here in a 1 versus 3. He's going to get shut down. Lusty goes huge.
Once again, the time. 0 seconds on the clock when that kill comes on out. Fnatic do take the lead. But wow, this has been a pretty high octane so far, hasn't it?
Certainly has. It's been back and forth. These rounds have been close, but this clock continues to strike monkey. Neither team can find an answer to this 3-minute clock. They need to get more productive. They need to be more useful and more aware of the time.
Are they just being too careful? Is that what they're doing? They're, you know, droning twice, droning 3 times? Or?
Potentially, but I think it comes down to they're not. If that's the case, then they're not making meaningful choices with their drones. Right? Yeah. You need to, drones are a utility, they are a resource, you need to use that resource correctly. So you need to make meaningful ground. There is no point droning if you're not pushing with a drone.
All right, looks like Fnatic going to continue on that streak of trying different bomb sites. That's the bathroom and Tellers locked in.
Oh. All right, so they went for Tower on Oregon. They're going for Tellers on Border. Is there any site that this Fnatic squad doesn't want to go to?
I don't know. It's like, you know, they want to be proficient on all sides just to keep their opponents guessing at all times. And, you know, have VSDS brought the right utility for this kind of bomb site?
Oh, probably not. I mean, you don't expect it. Like, you don't expect it. This is by far the weakest site on the map, particularly when Mira's banned out. Mira makes this site a lot stronger, but, however, we are going to see a top-down hold out of Fnatic, I would think. They're going to be up in the offices, and they're going to be hard-holding officers.
Yeah, it looks like Dark Sided have opted for a bit of a tactical pause. They want to have a bit of a discussion.
Yep, and I think that is 100% the right choice to make. Especially, you know, their coach needs to get in there and they need to make them aware of the timer. You need to be so aware of this clock. Fnatic did not call attack pause on their attacks, and I think it was a mistake. Dark Sided calling attack pause on their attacks when they are underutilizing this clock, it has by far been their worst enemy, and I think it is the right choice to make.
Right, and let's take a look at these operators. We do have a Castle coming out there. We have an Alibi picked onto as well, so I don't know, some pretty interesting decisions.
Yeah, some very interesting decisions here out of VSDS. Like, the Castle, out of Fnatic, not VSDS.
Castle's not too strange on this bomb site.
Not on this bomb site. The Alibi is.
Yes. I'm not sure, like, we have seen a bit of Alibi today, haven't we?
Yeah, we have, but it's been mostly out of Dark Sided.
Yeah, and as for the success of it, like, you really don't feel like teams at this level are going to get caught off by it too often, are they?
Not at all. I mean, those Prismas, the interesting thing about Prismas is they don't carry across skins.
Yes.
Right? So if you're using a skin on Alibi, the Prismas are at your stock standard skin. So it almost means that Alibi cannot use a skin because she cannot trade people out. She cannot trade her Prismas out with herself.
The thing is, I'm more thinking that, you know, Dark Sided are going to drone out the positions of these Prismas and realize they're Prismas, right? Whereas, and, you know, they're going to know not to shoot those kind of things. Whereas, you know, sometimes, you know, you just see a shape and you start shooting and suddenly you're detected, like...
Yep, and that's a really annoying thing to do when you're just sort of peeking around a door, a window, whatever it is, and you take the shots on a silhouette that shouldn't be there because, I mean, at this point, these guys should know the map's inside out, upside down, back to front, and all of a sudden you're spotted and you have to back out and wait for your 5 seconds to be up. That's just annoying.
Now, here we go, Fnatic are defending over in the offices this time. That's afforded control over to Dark Sided in the Armory Lockers. Archives be the next spot they have to go into. There's IQ.
That was a great Valk camp.
IQ's been doing a lot of work here for Dark Sided, though.
It certainly has. It's done, in my opinion, it's been a lot more effective than what Fnatic's IQ was.
Yes.
And, you know, that's a credit to Fletch. He's a brilliant player, and his IQ here has come out a lot more powerful than what Fnatic's has.
Could almost say it was the 200 IQ plays, eh?
I knew that was going to come out.
It was a bit of a stretch. I think I'll let it stand. Come on, let it stand. Yeah.
You've definitely made worse puns, and you know, taking control of the top 4 here out of Dark Sided, I think has been the great move, but they have left the room that has the most utility to it last, the officers.
Yeah, and it looks like Fnatic have decided to pretty much drop off this as well, as Fletch is going to find the first one onto Lusty. That is the alibi off the board, and, you know, they do have control right on top of this bomb site. Specker, I think he almost saw some people down in Workshop as well.
There is one. He just saw a foot. Whether or not Specker realized that he did, because he is going to hard hold the angle. Rizraz is going to find Cutie's head, though. Puts the alibi into the ground, 6 feet under. Rizraz tagged very heavy, though.
Yeah, he's gone down low from that engagement. That's the C4 from below that doesn't find anything either. This IQ has just been ruining the information game for Fnatic.
It certainly has. Fletch has been amazing on this IQ as we do come down now to the final minute. Virtue's going to find Magnet, though, and that's going to put it into man advantage and by far the health advantage into Dark Sided. Rizraz needs to be reset, though, at this point, as they are running out of time for the window for his reset to happen.
Yeah, 40 seconds on the clock. It's all going to come down very quickly towards the bomb site. It's very interesting to see Dark Sided are pretty much putting all the pressure from inside.
That bounces right. That's a dead... Oh! Virtue! Rizraz is going to run out, try and get aggressive. Virtue ready for it, though. Puts the bullet in Rizraz's head, and now Aces and Neophyter are the only ones left.
On the bright side, Rizraz was lit up super heavy, so it's not too big of a loss in terms of total health, but Aces is going to find Specker. Looks like they're aware of the positions on the bomb site. Virtue's going to find one, leaving it all up to Neophyter with 10 seconds to go. Surely this plant's going to go down, and Jack Daddy is going to deny Neophyter. VSDS find another round up on the board.
Yep, and that was a strong defense. That was a strong attacking showing, sorry, out of VSDS. And that is why you really don't take that bomb site.
What I wanted to say, though, was it was very strange that VSDS were all pushing from inside. They didn't even bother with the outside wall or the window there, and that allowed Magnet to find 1 kill. So, you know, that's probably when you start thinking, hold on, things could be happening in this bomb site if we're not pressuring it from all angles.
Yeah, exactly. And it comes down to, you know, the stock standard push is you open the wall, you open the window, you go and you plant behind the Coke machine. But it's just not going to... wasn't going to happen. VSDS just weren't interested in that at all. They do their own strategy. They do what is arguably the safer strategy. They clear out the map, they take control of upstairs, they find their picks, and then they push their way in. And it comes down to, I don't think Fnatic were ready for anything but the stock standard push. So what I'm going to call the solo queue push.
Yeah.
And it just sort of was a bit weird out of Fnatic.
And also their defense on top floor, it just kind of melted, didn't it? They didn't put up any real pressure back against VSDS. They just tried to run away from it and relied on C4s through the floor, which really didn't do anything at all.
Yeah, those C4s found nothing, but again, that comes thanks to Fletcher's IQ, and he's back on it again.
And he's got 11 frags.
Wow. All right, 8 rounds in, he's got 11 frags. He's only died, what, 6 times? So he's doing very, very well for himself. And Fnatic a very even kill count, though, across the board.
Yeah, Fnatic, it really feels like, you know, they're just letting these gunfights get away from them, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly, and a lot of it comes down to Fletch on that 11 frags. I can't get over that. That is massive for this stage in the game. And Fnatic, though, they're going to, what, ventilation this time, finally?
No, they're defending armory lockers.
Armory lockers?
Yes. One thing I want to say, you know, it's something we haven't really entertained the thought or potentiality of is, what if Dark Sided take this map?
Yeah, actually, that is something we didn't even discuss at all. We didn't even consider it a possibility. What if Fnatic is sent home 2-0?
You know, stranger things have happened. Dark Sided definitely showing that they deserve to be here, and, you know, it definitely could happen. Look at the scoreline, 4-4 right now.
Well, interestingly enough, I was having a chat to Dizzle before the game, before the match started, and we were talking about the fact that Dark Sided had boot camped fairly heavily before this Masters competition, and Dizzle's response was, well, what do you get out of boot camping that you can't do online? Well, this is what you can get out of it, Dizzle. Like, you know, this is a great showing for Dark Sided.
Yeah, he really didn't seem too concerned about Dark Sided either, did he? So
no, he didn't.
Oh.
And so we've seen this happen before, where Fnatic underprepare for an opponent, and they prepare for what they believe is going to be the stronger opponent later on in the tournament. And we've seen it butt in their button a little while ago, and it hasn't really been something that's reared its head until now again. And I think that if Dark Sided take this map, Fnatic are going to be pretty down on themselves, but Lusty has something to say about it as he lands a beautiful headshot onto Virtue there.
Virtue was so aware though. Virtue took him very low. That fight almost went the other way. It was
look at all those prismas.
Yeah, all of them just sitting out in the open.
Yep, and the annoying thing about those prismas is even if you shoot the base plate, if your bullet goes through a foot, you get spotted.
Yes.
And it can be one of the most annoying experiences. You're like, I shot the base plate, but you know, you still shot through the foot. So you still get revealed. And now this Archives wall is open. VSDS, they look a lot more prepared for this attack than what they were in the first round.
Yeah, they've definitely decided they don't want to push from the security side. We're going to see Rizraz go aggressive outside, and he's going to fall to Specker, putting us in a 4-on-4 with 50 seconds to go.
Certainly are, and that is the frag they needed. However, without the sledge, they don't really have any more grenades, so they're going to be relying on those EMPs to really take care of any ADSs. They have got no way to sort of get any utility kills here. And this angle out of Fletch is going to be held. There is actually someone there, so he knows they're there. The shots come out, he puts a couple more shots down, and this flank out of Fletch is going to be very, very aggressive. The C4 from Magnet finds nothing though, but the Magnet will find the headshot on the plant. Cutie gets dropped, but he is going to get pushed from the side. He's not quite aware of it. There is one prone next to the desk, and here they go on the Magnet. A couple of shots come down, he gets taken really low. He does not get shot in the back, which I argue he probably should have then, but no! He finds Fletch looking the other way, and 2 quick kills from Fnatic.
How did Magnet manage to ninja himself in that Archives corner? He was dead for us. How did he survive that?
He had 3 people around him, and none of them knew he was there. What? Like...
Did they just assume he dropped the hatch?
They must have.
We saw him go pro next to it. Did he maybe do a fake drop there?
Well, surely they would have heard the sound cue. It makes the sound. Surely they would have heard the sound cue. And, like, I think Magnet was 100% the reason they won that round.
Oh, yeah. Aggressive push out to deny the plant, which was not getting watched at all by Fletch.
But Fnatic is on match point.
Again.
Third time in a row.
No, we saw this last matchup as well. Yes,
but they got 2 match points last map.
Yes, and they haven't.
So, you know, third time's a charm, as they say.
Well, we shall wait and see. As you know, they're going to have to go for their secondary choice bomb site here, assuming ventilation and workshop. Yep, they're doing stuff. You know,
your assumption is correct.
Bit more stock standard. They don't want to try that Tellers once again, and I don't really blame them.
Oh no, they got destroyed on that. I don't blame them at all. I would like to have seen a customs come out of them.
Yeah, potentially. Looks like they're going to stick with that cat can though as well.
Yeah, the cap traps out of Neophyter could potentially find someone if they're not ready for them. But Fletch on this IQ, he has been a monster at finding their utility. He has played IQ so effectively here. And we'll have to see whether or not he will finally drop the ball or whether or not he's going to continue, as you put it, 200 IQ plays.
That was smooth. I like that. Well, we are into the action phase of the final round in regulation time. Looks like still some setup coming out there from the cat can, though.
Yeah, well, it is an operator that you do have to take more than your fair share time.
Yes.
Of setting up. You know, especially if you want to get these cap traps spread out across the entire map, you do need to go spread them to different doors. He is a 3-speed, which of course makes him exceptionally slow as well. Sorry, 3 armor, which makes him exceptionally slow.
I believe they changed him to a 2-2, Flea.
Have they?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So yeah, he's a 2-2 now, which allows him to do that a bit more easily.
And yeah. Well, that is true. So, but he still needs to go across the entire map, which sort of says, you know, got to take your time, put those traps around the place, put them intelligently around the place. And Virtue still on this sledge. He hasn't really had a great impact this map on this sledge, I don't think.
Looks like he has ran into one of those cap cans, though. He is down to 50 already.
Specker as well.
Yes, that's some nice early on damage here for Fnatic. Maybe that could make the difference here.
Well, they need every advantage they have. Specker walks into a second one. He is going to be downed, not straight up kill. But now they know he is downed. Now they know that they can pick up a free kill if they so wish.
Well, they won't know it unless they heard the sound of him going down. Of course, no points on.
Yeah, and I'm presuming they heard it because it was in the door to officers. And Lusty's going to drop as soon as he sees any aggression come out. He's potentially going to go for the flank. Fletch trying to get these long angles with his ACOGs. Finds nothing though. And with a minute 25, VSDS are getting ready to go for the push the plant. The gun from Fletch. He potatoes just a little bit. And Rizraz manages to get out alive. Lusty going to find the kill on the Virtue, though. And that is a drunk Neophyter going to find a kill for himself. But Specker manages to pick it back up in reply. Now 3 on 4, but the health advantage with Dark Sided.
Yeah, there we go. Lusty is lit, and so is Riz, but they still are alive. They still are guns that can shoot on back. So there's a minute on the clock. What are Dark Sided going to do? How are they going to push? Because they've really not set up for any kind of push at all.
Yeah, and, you know, they've lost Sophia, they've lost Sledge, so they've lost their top-down destruction. They're not going to be able to go for their vertical play. They're going to need to go for the more horizontal play. They do still have that Thermite out of Cutie, so they can potentially go for a bathroom push if they rotate quick enough. With 40 seconds left, they're running out of time, but, you know, they are mildly prepared for that rotate, but it doesn't look like they're going to go for it.
Yeah, bathroom's going to be a hard spot for them to take over anyway. It looks like they're going to have to start pushing down.
Oh, no. Flank out of Passport.
Fletch jumped down. He's aware of the possibility. I think he did drone it out early.
He's
he
on
hasn't seen it. Lusty's going to step on up and find him. Takes the headshot. Sends Fletch to the grave as there's 15 seconds. VSDS have to push it in right now as Specker has only got a smidgen of HP. This might all be over right now as Specker's going to find one, but Rizraz going to find one, and Fnatic are going to finally win a match here. 6-4 on border.
Yes, that was a tremendous showing from Dark Sided, though. They made Fnatic fight for every single round.
Another very, very close map here between Fnatic and Dark Sided. Far from the 2-0 that we saw from Fnatic last time they managed to play against each other. But yeah, like you said, Dark Sided making them fight tooth and nail for every single one of these rounds. Again, a 6-4. Does it feel as though Fnatic might have underestimated Dark Sided a little bit?
Yes. I think Fnatic have been, especially with, you know, chatting to some of the players and Dizzle before the match, they definitely seemed less worried about Fnatic, and their prep has gone into trying to deal with Norarango in the final